All right, and we are now live. Hi, I am Kara858, and today we're here for episode 15 of Rivenwood Academy. So, as always, here to Cookout, we always like to give love and support to different individuals in the community. Like to shout out different channels out there, so perhaps you can take a look at their content and support them on their endeavors. As always, we'd love to give a shout out for a good friend of ours. His name is Adrian Bear, also known as Aries, who has a Twitch as well as a YouTube channel known as The Bear Pen. The Bear Pen has a variety of different content. They're establishing their, as he calls it, the MCU universe of kind of like the World of Darkness, where you're going to be seeing a mage. You will see, of course, Vampire the Masquerade, and perhaps some other content in the near future. Many of our individuals actually in this cast are going to be on at least one of the shows that he has present, either Vampire the Masquerade, which has Blood of the Bayou, which had a couple of individuals here, as well as the Mage game that he recently announced. Both Mage games. He actually announced both Mage games. Doom, thank you so much for the bits. As always, we definitely appreciate it. We always appreciate the love and support that you give in chat. So yeah, if you can, definitely go ahead and give both his Twitch as well as his YouTube a follow, because Adrian Bear, they're a fantastic individual. Next group we'd like to give a shout out for, of course, is Hunters Entertainment. Hunters Entertainment is a variety horror TTRPG show, a channel that deals with, as you can imagine, a variety of TTRPGs. You will see well-known names such as Michelle Young, you'll see Markia Bacardi, you will see Melee Damage, and they have some sci-fi areas, sci-fi shows in there as well. And recently, they just gave us a raid not too long ago. Alex Red Eye, which is one of their technical producers, you guess you could say, who is also playing in the Bear Pens of the Blood in the Bayou show, is actually, like I said, a technical producer in Hunters Entertainment. So if you can, definitely go ahead and give Hunters Entertainment a follow and support them on their endeavors. And last but certainly not least, we definitely like to give a shout out for is Pixel Circus. Pixel Circus is another variety TTRPG show. And they just have a show on there that features Sharif Jackson, as well as Hopper Barbarian. And this show is called Kids on Bike. It was originally on Roll20, and it transitioned on to Pixel Circus. And it actually comes out on Thursdays at 8 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's a fantastic show. Sharif is a fantastic DM. I will just keep it a secret. I won't say too much more about it. Let's just say Sharif may be visible in the near future as well. So, like I said, definitely go ahead and give Pixel Circus a follow and support them on their endeavors. As for yours truly, with the shout outs out the way, we'll go ahead and start with announcements. We have Lords of Faerun, of course, this Saturday. If you were not able to catch up on our Twitter, we have a huge special guest this Saturday. Her name is Josephine McAdams. You may have seen her on LA by Night. She's currently on Shakar and many other TTRPG shows. She's a fantastic individual, and we're super looking forward to seeing what she's bringing to the table this upcoming Saturday. And like I said, there is going to be some more projects coming in the near future that's going to be exclusively released on our YouTube. And they are also going to be having some individuals that you may see here in this cast, as well as some individuals you may recognize from the TTRPG community in general. Again, I'm super excited to be able to announce those in the near future, so keep an eye out. They should be announced sometime this month. And like I said, super looking forward to that. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and transition to our intro video as we bring you episode 15 of Rivenwood Academy.
Micah, Ardris, Meaty, Kellen, Otis. Behold The spellbinding abilities of Rivenwood Academy.
And we're back. So with that said, Aaron, take it away.
Hey guys, so we have a little bit of recap we need to do because two of our lovely party members have returned. So we last week was interesting. I think three people had maybe their best week of their lives. So Shy and Micah both had a very good week, very popular on campus. Everyone's stopping them to talk about what's going on and trying to help them out with everything that they're doing. Micah had a good heart talk with both his mother, Chancellor Rosani, and Shy, and was able to kind of get some stuff off of his chest about the whole Battle Royale thing. Ardris made some connections with the archivist, Theophania, or Tiffany, working on his independent research project, you might say, as well as Kellen getting a little bit of an interpersonal relationship blooming and a secret dagger. Almost everyone walked away with some sort of new loot, from Otis's new pocket watch to Miri's family necklace engraved with their family's motto, which everyone carries around them. But then things went a little bit south for Otis in particular. While everyone else was doing cool, floaty 3D battle over lava, Otis was summoned into the Chancellor's office with the notice that his mother was claiming that the Academy had kidnapped him and was holding him against her wishes. Chancellor Rosani was ready to send him on his way, but Drogon literally burst into the room and said that that was not happening. And Rosani must respect him quite a bit because she almost immediately changed her track, even though Otis overheard a conversation later that said she was very worried about how this could affect the school and the safety of her son in particular. Then you guys have had a couple different classes for enchantment. So we got into a little bit more theory. Continental politics I thought was really fun, but that's because I am the nerd who made the continent. We talked about the Gorgon Empire, who have a strong state religion for Grelian, the Heavenly Dragon, as well as Therentamiel, which is Ardris's hometown, or home nation, and kind of some of the relationships between it. We also learned that Alfred Loom is from Dolandan below. Dolandan is a diarchy with half of the country above ground and half of the country below ground, and he is from the below section of that. Shy also had her first medicine class, and then Otis had the next part of his bad week when he went to the nature class. There was a groundwater poisoning due to a toxic material in the river. This is shortly after he had eaten his lunch all by himself due to the party having been hanging out with the Dragon's Pride. And unfortunately, the tree he was given care of is dead now due to the poisoning from the ground. And that's kind of where we left off, with Otis having the worst week ever, and everyone else having a pretty good time. We are going to be kind of taking the next couple weeks in pieces. So this is going to be like, you'll have a piece here, a piece there, instead of role-playing a full day. But that does introduce us to a new mechanic, which is called the flashback. If at any point you think that something would reasonably have been covered in your class that would help you to know what's going on, you can ask me for a flashback. Say, hey, I would like to flashback to the History of Magic class because I'm pretty sure I would know this answer from that class. And so we'll flash back, do a little bit of role play or make a quick roll, and then it'll affect what you're doing in the future. So just keep that in mind as you're getting ready to do things. And this applies to all of the classes that you're in. So even if you're trying to be maybe a little bit more persuasive and you're in the speech class, you might say, hey, I want to flash back to something like that. So keep that one in mind as it will come up. Speaking of speech class, 2 of my 3 speechers were not here last week, so we skipped it. But we will have a quick glimpse into what speech is looking like these days. So Alfred Loom, for the first couple weeks, has been harping on about how characters make stories. Like, it doesn't matter if you have a really cool setting, It doesn't matter if you have a really cool plot. If you have terrible characters, no one will care. He has transitioned from that into how you can be the character of the storyteller. So he's talking on and on and on about how, like, well, if you have to tell a story for whatever reason, if it is a factual one, or perhaps you are trying to misdirect or allay concerns, you can inhabit the role of your primary character or the role of the narrator. He goes on for a little bit about like ways that you can inhabit a character. And at the end of it, he's like, we are getting close to our final projects. I've picked out something different for each of you because it's frankly boring to do the same project over and over again from my point of view. So get with me next week. I'll tell you what it is you are doing, and we'll go from there. I'm sure I'm very proud of all of you. Goodbye. And as he's like telling everyone to go, he looks at Miri and Kellen and says, actually, if the two of you wouldn't mind waiting for a moment.
He does, because he has a question that he wants to ask anyway.
Ooh, fancy times. Micah, you are not held back, so you are good to go on about your day. And in fact, he'll kind of pointedly wait for you to leave before shutting the classroom door. And there's like a little like small curtain that goes over like the windows on the doors. So kind of pull that for a second. I look at both of you and it's like, well, how's it going?
Good. Are we in trouble?
Yes. No, you're not in trouble. I mean, maybe. No, you're definitely not in trouble. Unless you want to be, and then you are.
I'm good.
I don't think I want to be in trouble.
No? Excellent. I was just having a little chat the other day with another professor, and we were remarking that the two of you seem to have unexplored talent. And we wanted to encourage you, as we are wrapping up our first semester and going into the second, that you are mindful of this talent and consider it when picking your next classes. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so on the surface level, but I'm not sure what talent you're talking about.
Yes, you are a uniquely untalented individual, Mr. Kellen. No, I mean, you're obviously both extremely talented, but, well, and you see, like, he moves towards where, like, the desk is at the front of this, and you see he's kind of fiddling with a ring, and he takes it off, and he's holding it in his hand, and he sets it on the table. He's looking at you and he says, I mean, not all magic is scholarly wizards. And he pulls up his hand, and as he does, his appearance changes. He's no longer a professorly drow, older man with, kind of like the tweed and the elbow patches and whatever. He's a younger, or she's a younger drow woman. She looks to be in her late 20s, maybe, like, whereas Professor Alploom looks much older than that. And when she looks at you, she goes, I mean, if you're interested in learning how to use those talents, no one will ever believe you about this, by the way, so just don't even try it.
Has the voice changed?
The voice has changed.
Okay, interesting.
That's a nice little trick. I like your hair. That's beside the point.
If you try to touch it, I will kill you.
I'm just confused. Which course are you suggesting exactly?
Oh, well, actually, one of them is still speech, just with a better understanding of what I'm trying to teach you. You'll notice we're talking a lot about characters and getting into roles. I mean this in a very literal sense. I wear Alfred Loom every day.
I'm in.
Also, Professor Bim is the other one who's quite interested. More of the fiddly stuff, lockpicking, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, crap. I've got to keep working on that project for him. Right. Totally.
Or you should just think that we join a theater troupe.
In a manner of speaking, I mean, I started as an assassin and now I'm a professor. So if you want to start as a theater troupe and go to whatever it is you want to go to, why not? I'm more specifically suggesting that you take secrecy and deception and, being able to have no door locked to you as a serious goal.
I'm in. Professor.
But it's still Alfred Gloom, and as she says that, she slips back on a ring and the whole persona comes back up. Can I help you?
Yes. He asks in a manner that would terrify any professor. Can I ask you a personal question?
Probably not, but you're welcome to try.
And he'll look at Miri, then look at Professor Alfred Gloom.
Is it that personal? Sorry, is this like a...
Did you ever find that missing sophomore?
A missing sophomore?
It was something I overheard with a natural 20 during
Yes, I remember.
And Kellen has not forgotten.
Miri looks like...
Interesting. Mr. Blitz, I knew I'd choose well. Things are being investigated. It is unfortunately quite out of my hands. He kind of he looks over at the window that is currently closed, looks around the room a little bit. Okay. I should not be telling you this in the slightest. It's only because you've gained my fleeting favor that I'm considering telling you at all. There has been more than one disappearance. I believe you know one of them, actually. What is her name? Small little kobold-looking thing. Get out. Go on. Get. Something like this.
Okay, the player has forgotten the name, but Miri would be on that.
Scram.
Oh my
Scram name?
Miri will
I had to have mercy.
jump in. Scram? Scram is
That sounds about right. Scram. You
Alfred.
your part is actually pretty close with the the Dragon's Pride, I think they're calling themselves.
well, I guess we met them during the first days of school, but I saw
you weren't here last week, but you guys had a joint session with them for the support magics class.
Okay.
And ended up all having lunch together, and that's why Otis got eating lunch by himself, sad boy style, because the table was full because of them.
Okay.
So it's a fledgling kind of friendship. It's new.
Well, if there's anything that I can do to help, just let me know.
I would encourage you, Mr. Blitz, and this goes for you as well, Ms. Mary. Be careful what you promise. People will collect.
Oof.
Anyway, have a great day. If you do find out something, let me know. And opens up the door, lets you guys out. The next class is already kind of sitting in the hallway doing the antsy but the door's locked, and we didn't get a note that said we weren't having class. So they're like, oh sweet, okay,
been 15 minutes yet.
Yeah.
Miri, I know you need to get to your next class, but real quick. It's recently come to my attention that I owe you an apology, and I'm sorry. Okay, bye. And then he whirls and leaves.
That's character growth. I respect that.
God.
Did you roll a dice
right.
to determine if that was going to happen? I thought I heard a dice roll happening.
It was last time I rolled a die after he talked to Irie 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
I remember
All
that.
right.
It's a good combo.
So, Helen, make me a wisdom saving throw, because I'm gonna cast hold person on you.
I can do that.
I'm just picturing like there's a bunch of like random students going through the hallway. They just hear Kellen like go near supersonic, trying to apologize as fast as humanly possible, and then see Mary immediately cast magic at him.
That is a total of a 6.
Oh no, Zach.
Unfortunately.
So he is frozen in the spell.
Yes. Mary will walk up to him, just cross her arms. So what made you come to this conclusion? After all this time?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Kellen, roll me a deception check real quick with advantage.
Unironically, hold person prevents you from speaking. So he
Really?
actually.
I thought that it was
saying,
the restrain roll.
It's just
so you can
restraining.
speak. No, you
No,
can
read it.
speak.
Read
I
it.
swear.
It's paralyzed. A paralyzed.
Is it
creature
paralyzed? Oh, paralyzed can't.
Can't move
I thought
or
it-
speak. So he unironically cannot talk
Yeah.
and just goes.
Continue on.
She's like, don't want. Okay, I feel like Mary would not know that. So she's just thinking that he's not responding at all. So she'll actually kind of like start circling him. She's like, I asked for one thing, is that we all be friends. And friends are supposed to, talk to each other, and we're supposed to rely on each other. And it just really hurt whenever you almost said that you didn't care about what I was going through. Are you just mocking me at this point? I am trying to have a conversation with you, but you're just bumbling. You know what? If this is what you want to say to me, why did I even bother?
Can I roll another save?
For sure. For sure. If you did not already have inspiration, I would give you inspiration for just the little humming. That is solid.
I'm actually going to spend mine to try to re-roll this.
Nice.
Okay, that is a 21.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, you need to beat a 15 on that.
He kind of starts out yelling at first because he was like trying to force the words through it, and so he starts like almost screaming at Miri, "I literally can't!" And then that's when he realizes his volume is like way out of bounds, and then he like immediately goes down like a huge step and is like, "Talk when you use that spell. I literally can't."
What?
Yeah,
Like-
my throat was like seized up and the muscles on my mouth,
I mean,
they can't move.
I only used that on like a wolf once. So, you learn.
Don't cast magic on me in the middle of the hallway.
Well, I'm sorry.
He's like looking around for like a professor or something that's about to get her in trouble.
If you want to find one, the hall is full of doors that lead to professors.
He's not going to tell. He's looking to see like if anyone noticed, and they need
The
to like
students
run
notice,
away.
and they're kind of like, but no one so far seems to be like snitching.
He just like looks around and goes, "Ha ha, nice joke, pal. Yeah, we're working on our speech class homework," and then kind of will like motion for her that they should like get out of there.
It's cold. I love every second of it.
Do you follow with him?
She will follow. She's kind of like a stubborn little look on her face.
And he's like, "Well, I was talking to a friend of mine, and they brought it to my attention that like maybe I was being like a little bit of a jerk, and that sometimes maybe my brain gets in the way of stuff, you know?"
Why would you let your brain get in the way of your feelings? Your heart is here, but your brain is up here.
I think maybe, I don't know.
Well, that seems like something that maybe we should work on. Especially with the speech class stuff. I don't know what they're going to assign us for our final projects or anything.
Me either. It sounds fun though.
I suppose. I
Don't you
should punch you for making me worry so much.
You already cast magic on me in the middle of the way.
I didn't cast like a fire thing at you like Argus does.
I mean, Miri,
I'm not going to punch you.
we're friends, but you just cast magic in the middle of the hallway.
It's a magic school. I mean,
I'm the guy who can mess with gravity, and he'll just.
and I'm the girl with the talking sword, so we all have a little bit of a quirk to us, I guess.
Your sword can talk?
I didn't say that. Yes, my sword talks to me.
You might have mentioned it, but I definitely didn't remember that.
Kellen's mind suddenly flashes back to the 3 times with keen mind, the 3 separate times that Miri's been like, oh yeah, my sword said.
And that was the moment he realized that was not a joke.
This is so beautiful. As you're wrapping up this conversation, it feels like you guys have gotten a little bit more of an even kill. What do you think that like your next steps would be?
Miri would probably if Kellen wants to do something, she'll accompany him, but if not, probably just back to the dorm.
Nice. So as you guys leave the school building and you get ready to do whatever it is you're doing, we're going to kind of jump in time again. All these vignettes are happening over the course of like a month. There's no strict timeline to like, I'm not being like every week there are 2 or something like this, but there's just like little drops here and there. If you think of something that's happening that you're like, oh, I really want to role play this part out, like send me a DM or whatever. We're going to jump to Ardris. Ardris, you've been doing some research. You've been, well, actually, do me a favor. Tell me an average 4th day for you. All the days have name. All the days of the weeks have names now, but I'm too lazy to use them. So, the equivalent of Thursday. What would you be doing?
He would naturally have tidied up his belongings, organized all of his notes from the class of that day. Naturally, then he would have begun doing research on the book. We would have attempted to swing by the archivist's office in case they were available, and if not, probably drinking a nice mug of tea.
Nice. I'm going to say, because we're doing kind of this as a stand-in for all of the other nights, go ahead and give me an Arcana check with advantage and a History check with advantage because of your new book that you're using to help you.
Oh, that was 18 plus 8 for the Arcana, so 26.
Very nice.
19. So 19 plus 8 for the History, so 26 and 27 respectively.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Smart.
You're studying this book. You've got, it's like an ancient compendium of lost languages that you're kind of skimming through. It is dense reading because like basically it's translated from ancient Elvish into ancient Elvish. You know, so it's just like one step closer to what you naturally speak. So you're kind of like using like fantasy Latin in order to translate fantasy Sumerian, you know, like you're thinking like that. So it's dense, difficult work. It is not something where you open it up, you find the index and you go to the page that you're looking for. You're having to go back and forth and use different parts to try and translate things that you've already seen. You do see that there are, you're looking at the last diagram. So there are 7 of these diagrams in red. You're looking at the last one. That's kind of the one that you've been focused on in order to figure it out. This is the one that you were able to see that there was something about. Actually, what did I tell you? Before I say that, let me make sure that I'm not lying to you. I mean, it's true if I say it, but I would like to be consistent. Yeah, so no, I told it to you backwards. You're thinking about the word. If you remember, the word written in black was Phobos, F-O-V-O-S, and how it has something to do with fear or terror. You remember, like, you connected it to, like, it was strange that you found this book in the Waypoint Cavern, because it, like, that strange symbol that you saw in the discoloration on the floors matched that back page. This time, as you're using the book, you are able to translate a couple of these runes that seem to line the outside of the diagrams, and you're looking at the last one, and you can see that there is this rune that means Phobos, fear or terror, or yeah. I mean, I think terror is probably the best word to use for it. Woven into a lot of what looks to be like a very strange magic circle. You know what a normal modern day magic circle looks like. This ain't it. This is way more. It's like looking at the Star Trek like 5D chess kind of thing. Like you understand what it should look like as you know it, and this is just way more complex. You can't quite see how some of it aligns, but looking at it, you're starting to get a sense of scope, and you think that whatever this is, it is not something you can hold in your hands. It's quite large. So like I said, there's no scale model, like, you know, key or anything on there, but you are getting the impression that whatever this is, more than one person would have been needed in order to make this happen, and it is large. It was 27 on your history check, I think you said?
27 on history.
This is not directly related to the book, but you're spending a lot of time reading, you know, this ancient elvish stuff, and it's making you think about kind of the history of the continent. You're in continental politics, so you've been talking about it. It's kind of all of these things are churning in your head together. And you know that not too far away is the festival day of Saint Justicia, who is a very lauded hero from the Total War. She was known to ride in the battle not with her sword drawn, but carrying this flag of peace, which was a dark, like royal blue with a crown in the middle and 7 stars on the outside. She is widely believed to be like the main reason why the Accords ever got signed, because she went into very dangerous places and urged people to come sit at the table and figure out what we could do. And you know, St. Justicia's Day is a very bright, big festival where people do like horse races or wagon races. There's lots of like plays and theaters about history, about the end of the Total War, about the beginning of the Accords. Lots of different nations put their own spin on it. So you probably have a distinctly Theran understanding of kind of what all of that looked like. But like, you're thinking about that, you're thinking about the book, you're thinking about the old ones. And I think that there's this thread running through you that like, the book seems to be ancient history. And then you have the history that everyone's fixing to celebrate on this festival day. And then you have the life you're currently living now. There's some sort of thread that is running through there that is, it's in the back of your head, like constantly. You're thinking about it.
Well, Artis will definitely take out his notebooks and jot down all of this information so that way he can deliver it to the archivist, just so there's someone who is able to properly follow my thinking process. Would I know if the archivist would be available today?
Yeah, I mean, you reasonably go once or twice a week in the evenings, like kind of when classes are over. And she gave you that little like magical like invitation, basically, that you can walk in whenever and check out and see if she's there. And you know that from the past couple times you've met, she's super into this. Like, she thinks that this is fascinating. She wants to research and read about it. So like, she's very welcoming every time you deign to come by. And she's always like giving you new books. Like, well, why don't you try this book? See if that helps you get anything, that kind of thing.
And he will very quickly, very hastily, very unlike himself, just toss all of his books into his pack. Except for that book, he will keep that one in his hand, and then he'll pull out his wand and rush back towards the front door. And as he gets outside, he will cast Fly on himself and make his way over to the archivist's office as quickly as he can.
Hey.
It went from 0
All right,
to
you
60.
do that. You basically Superman jump off the floor of the foyer up into the library door. It opens immediately as you approach. Like, you don't even get close enough to knock. It's already open for you, and you hear the door saying hello. And you keep going, and Theophania is sitting there as it has always happened when you walk in. There's a little light that flashes to let her know that someone's approaching, and she looks up. And when she looks at you, she's like, yes. Okay, one second. And she's rapidly finishing up what she's doing. You see that, like, as we talked about before, she is rapidly signing and fingerspelling, and a magical quill is taking notes for her at a feverish pace because she can sign quite quickly. And then she wraps everything up. She looks at you and she's like, okay.
Excuse me, pardon my interruption, but he will pull out the book and his notes on it. Do you see here? There is a very odd a magical circle of some sort here. I've never encountered one in this particular fashion. Not even Father's study, so that makes it much more interesting. So this passage here, I believe it may be referencing one of the saints, Justinia, I believe. What do you think? I must admit, my history outside of the kingdom is a bit more limited.
So she's pulling out her own like dedicated notebook to this mystery kind of thing and starting to set out a whole bunch of books. In fact, she'll move you, like, you know that in this area of the library, there's like little desks and chairs for people to do that are very comfortable. She moves you there so you can spread out all of these books between you. And she's like, this is super interesting. It's like, this is incredibly, it's mind-bogglingly old. I've never seen. What do you think about pulling in someone else? Don't get me wrong, I am the history expert, but I mean, this magic is older than I've ever seen. Maybe we can get a wizard or a sorcerer's opinion of it.
Of course, I think that would be very wise indeed. I was actually going to suggest that we reach out to perhaps my father or the kingdom. Perhaps they can provide some more context, or maybe someone there has heard of this particular symbol before. It may be ancient magic, maybe dangerous or powerful.
I mean, I was thinking something a little bit closer to home, as in like we have a school full of magical people, like we could just ask one of them. But like, if you wanted to, I don't know, write a letter or something, I could make sure it got delivered.
No, of course not. Forgive me. I saw the forest, missed the forest for the trees. I believe that is the saying in common. Yes.
I have no idea what that means.
Neither do I. I have the humans say it a lot. But yes, we can ask people here.
Sorry, do you speak human? Now, this is something I think that maybe has not come up, but humans got their own language in my world because common is the common language. It's not like fantasy English in which it's just taken over the world by storm. So can you provide me a reason why you would know human? I think, thinking about this, Kellen's probably the only one who knows human, which, Kellen, you can just write that on your character sheet.
I don't think he speaks human. I feel like he is someone who kind of like read it as like a quaint thing to do, as like a nobleman who just kind of bored. So he like vaguely, like how people with other languages and just like vague concepts and like vague sayings without actually knowing what they mean. Yeah,
you're like, oh, we're so laissez-faire. We should check out the a la carte. Yeah, like I got you. She kind of gestures back towards that seventh diagram, and she's like, the only reason I ask is if you look here, I mean, this looks kind of like an early, like you've at least seen the human alphabet, right? So this looks like what it would have been, maybe. I mean, in this part kind of looks orcish. And like as she's pointing it out to you, you can see that like not only is there many different magics like seemingly woven into this magic circle, many different languages as well.
Now that you mention it, I didn't even notice that there's some sort of combined spell. People have mentioned old ritual magics from long ago, once or twice, but I thought they were myths.
I mean, it makes me, I'll be honest, you know that I love the pursuit of knowledge. It does make me a little bit nervous because you've got, I mean, this many people collaborating on some sort of very ancient ritual something. I mean, we can't even say what it is. All I've got is something about fear. That's not helpful, really.
Perhaps. I mean, it could be a very powerful ward of some sort. Perhaps something used to hide something important.
As you say that, sorry, I'm gonna interrupt you there because as you say that with that 26 Arcana that you rolled earlier, you look at it and you think, you know, all of the magic is represented here, but the largest seems to be abjuration. You catch like glimpses of here and there and here and there. You're like, if this were simplified, this would match what I know for some sort of like banishment or other abjuration kind of magic. And you guys missed, oh no, you didn't miss it, but Kellen and Miri missed the shortest history of magic lesson in which the vice chancellor was like, abjuration is about barriers, banishment, and whatever the other B was. And that was it. And he walked out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's on the top of your head because you recently had the abjuration magic and you're looking at it and you go, something clicks about that. And you can see that Tiffany immediately is like, that's a good point. That's a good point. And starts to have her notes scribble away as she's looking at things and she's signing to herself and she's trying to figure it out. You have been studying common sign language with her, so you're catching like a word here, a word there, no content words, because you've been basically focused on like greetings and, you know, what is this? And she's, you know, signing high level magics, but you can see like there's something about that really, really has gotten her attention.
Yes. Consider if we assume that there's some sort of abjuration-based ability or perhaps some sort of banishment, then if we consult the poem, it almost reads as if there's some sort of sacrifice. Perhaps this is some sort of binding of something, some sort of entity or some sort of, I don't know, weapon or something. Especially the end for the future we die.
I think you're right. Which means that my nervousness is now hesitation. Maybe we should call the chancellor in on this one. Like, I'll be honest, I am only comfortable doing this much independent research with you because you're technically not a minor, unlike everyone else at this school. Like, you're of the legal age of majority, at least in the Tulesian dynasty. And so this has been like a fun little joint research project, but if there's some sort of sacrificial, whatever this is, I'm starting to think it is more than what an archivist maybe should be responsible for. Would you be willing to let me take the book and take it to the chancellor? I can leave your name out of it. It will be, yeah. I'll take the book. I'll say that I found it on the shelf, even if you don't want to be attached to it at all.
He kind of looks down at the book and holds it. Perhaps we can go together. After all, there may be some other insights. Together, share knowledge. Though it is rather clear that he is very much concerned about not having a book.
All right. Oh gosh, look, it is late. Okay, tonight's probably not the best night. Let's say next second day, like if you come just a little bit early, I'll ask Chancellor Ronnie to meet us here, and we can kind of share what we have.
Yes, of course. That would be fine.
Arjus, I really appreciate, like, it's awesome that you thought of me for all this, but I really appreciate that you take my concerns seriously.
Of course.
And
That's
you get
always
the
wise.
opinion that that is probably fairly rare in the Arcus life.
Yeah, it is always wise to heed the counsel of scholars and researchers.
I couldn't agree more. And as we zoom away from this scene, we're going to come back to Micah. So it is a different night. You have been having a ball. I mean, this is a good time for you. You've gotten the rhythm of your classes. So like things are no longer scary and surprising. They are something that has become a comfortable part of like how your day looks. Your mom has been out quite a bit lately, just working on various things. So more often than not in the evening, you've either stayed over at the dorms or just entertained yourself. But you do have a brand new book to keep you some company. So I think you've probably been having a pretty good time of it. I wanted to ask you, as the days are kind of going on, like, you know how like at the beginning of a school year, every day it feels long because everything is new. And then as you get acclimated, like every day feels the same, and eventually time just goes faster and faster. As we're approaching the final part of this semester, how are you feeling about your progress in school?
So that is actually a really good question, because Micah really wanted to go a bit beyond on the enchantment project. And when the project was in place, they were stated to do enchantment of a first or second level spell. And his goal was he wanted to do a third level spell, specifically summon Fae, to have that in the item that he could be able to cast. So I believe he would have dedicated half of his extra time that he would have in place to try to understand how to go a bit beyond what he learned from the class so far, to try to bring in this third level spell into, you know what? I don't know. Would he be able to utilize the necklace that his mom gave him to add an enchantment on top of that? Or would he know that because his necklace already has an enchantment, there's no way to provide an additional benefit per se?
You would know if an item is already enchanted, you basically write over it when you enchant it again. You can dual enchant things if you want them to have two functions, but it is that much more expensive to do that, and it has to be done at the same time.
Yeah, so in that case, he would just attempt to utilize a secondary necklace to try to incorporate that aspect.
I think for all of you, none of you sent me what spells you want to use. So I'm going to say that as you look through these blueprints, you don't really see anything that catches your eye in terms of what you want to create for this final project. So all of you are flying a little bit blind because unlike Kellen, who's the only one who has done non-blueprint based magic, all of you had the steps and the materials written out before you. Now, you were supposed to get the materials, and unfortunately, you also don't have the steps. So you're kind of starting from nothing on this project. I'm going to say maybe you want to have a discussion with Kellen about that. I think maybe one day you're working on it in the common room and you'll see maybe Kellen's ring of light, and that would get you to thinking about it.
Okay. Yeah, so in that case, he would go, he would tap Kellen on the side of his thigh. We're like, I have question.
Dumb lockbox. Oh, Micah. Hi.
I want do what you did. And you points to the ring.
You want to make a light ring?
No, he wants to make a lightsaber.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool. He kind of shakes his head and says, no, create spell. This scratch from scratch.
Oh, Micah. Ooh, wait, right here. And then he like sprints to his room to grab like a quill pen and like some loose parchment paper, and then like realizes he still has the box in his hand, like tosses it into the drawer, and then just like goes back to Micah. All right. So tell me, what spell did you want to try to make?
He says, summon fate.
You can do that. I can suppress gravity in an instant. That's not that weird. Okay, cool, sure. How do you do that? Like, what kind of components tend to be involved?
Need component, but in head see it.
Interesting. That's going to be complicated because I'm no expert enchanter, but I recall that I sort of needed to find a substitute for each of my components when I was designing the formula. But if you don't typically use them, do you know anywhere in the library where we might be able to get a reference to like a wizard version of this spell?
I have access.
Well, if you could get some notes on what all of the components are, it would be weird. And I'd be flying a little bit blind, but maybe we could use that as like a place to start designing a formula.
Smart. Very, very smart. Okay. Well, that's too hyper. Okay. I be right back.
Okay.
And,
Micah. It's very enterprising. I'm proud of you.
Oh. Thank you. I like new friend.
Me too.
Oh. Did I found paper pocket. Weird. Was weird. Said have you tried to he gets the pen. He'll get the pen and he'll write down remember on the paper.
You copy the handwriting too, right?
Wait, what?
I do motions perfectly.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I mean, he does it. I have to take a look at the construct. Never mind. I'm saying I have to look at the aspect a bit first, but but he says us, and it says, "Can you even?" And then he points to the word.
Micah, are you saying that you've lost memories?
I don't know.
Well, I guess if you'd lost them, then you wouldn't. Well, if you learn anything more about that, would you let me know?
I will. Weird. It was in sport battle. Pound paper.
Ah, during the arena.
Mm.
Interesting. Well, I'll see what I can figure out.
Okay. You are very smart. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Sure. Anytime.
And then from there, you just hear his feet go boop, 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 boop.
This is incredibly pure. I am so proud. Excellent. So we'll kind of shift from that. I do want to let you know, for those of you who are planning to do these high level things, you have to know it is quite expensive. For a third level spell, you're talking about at least 110 gold pieces. Or no, not 110, 810
I'm
gold
about to
pieces.
say, that's cheap.
No, it's 180 for a first and second level spell,
Okay.
which is why several of you have gotten boons lately of cash. And also it takes time. So most of you it seems like you're going for rare items. So it would be 9 days of study time for the arcane blueprint, and then an additional 4 weeks for the actual enchantment after you get the materials. So just something to consider as you're picking what you enchant. I'm not trying to dissuade you. Go for it. I think it would be rad, sweet, awesome to do all of these things. Just be aware. Cool. We're quickly going to go over to Shy. Shy, you're in your medicine class. I think it's probably the class that stands out the most to you, kind of day in and day out. You're still riding this high of popularity. People are still, and in fact, you notice there seem to be more people in the medicine class than you remember the first day. Like, I don't know if they're just like hanging out because they like want to be near you, or if like they switch classes, or what's going on. Like, a little bit popular here. But the healer comes forward. As you remember, he is a very tall, human-looking person, bald, and his skin is like this gray tone that matches his gray robes. And on his belt, he's got a symbol of the god Hymar, which is a sword thrust into a triangle of like briars with a vine that comes up the sword's hilt and blooms into the rose. And last time he walked you through how to set some non-life-threatening emergencies, like, bandaging, this kind of thing. This time he goes into what to do if someone is unconscious, not breathing, etc. Basically, last time you got first aid, this time you're getting CPR. So it is something where he gives you the steps, runs you through it slowly, and then keeps kind of drilling you on it until it becomes something that is you could use in an emergency. You know what I mean? Where like you don't panic. It's just my first thought is, okay, someone's unconscious. What do I need to do? I need to get them laid out. I need to clear their airway. I need to do this. Like, you've got this down. And he talks quite frequently about how like healing magic is quite important. It has a useful property, but we can't always rely on magic. So it is important to know what to do if your magic has failed you, and you still need to worry about these kinds of emergency situations. And, very calm, very chill. It would be, I think, a fairly scary class because like he's got a couple volunteer sophomores who are also healers who he basically uses like a sleep spell on them and puts them to sleep, and then it's like they're unconscious, what do you do kind of thing. And so it would maybe be a little bit terrifying constantly role-playing emergencies, but that chill vibe he's got is very, like, it carries over. And I think you might find like in your day-to-day life, it also carries over a little bit. That like this kind of relaxed, like in the face of danger thing is something you can draw on. Did you have anything you wanted to accomplish as we're going through this semester? He's going to keep running you through different types of non-magical healing, culminating in your final project will be, there's an emergency, how do you respond? You don't know what the situation will be yet, but basically it's going to be role-playing an actual encounter.
Well, she would probably try to find a way to do CPR as a fairy. See if there's a way to get bigger to do it.
I know that she can shrink under doors. Do you think, actually, I do think, I'm the DM, I know this. I think that in the heat of a moment such as this where you are required to do CPR, I'm just going to say, as a bonus, you do the opposite for this purpose. You get no other benefits from it. You can't turn into a giant at any other time. If you got to do CPR, like your body goes, and you do it.
I love it.
I'm just imagining like tiny little like fairy rescue breaths and then like jumping like with your feet to try and do chest compressions. But yeah, no, and part of it is like he does teach you like how to leverage your strengths, how to leverage your like a bunch of different people have a bunch of different, like some people are fairly short, some people are fairly tall, some people are very thin, like how to use what you have in order to react appropriately in an emergency. It's like, you can fly. That is a big, well, he doesn't say it like that. There are many benefits that all of us can use. The ability for flight, for example, is something that is quite rare, but I think would be infinitely valuable in an emergency situation, etc. Yeah. Is there anything you want to do outside of that class?
She'd probably ask around, see what kind of good spells she could probably use to enchant her objects.
Do you go to the professor or do you go to like other students? Because you're mobbed by students all the time. You can have your pick if you want.
She'd probably ask students.
All right. I'm gonna say you got a new best friend. Now you might not think about him that way, but they think about you this way. Nossel, Gnossell, is a gnome, part of the Tideskeepers party. I'll put the name in the chat. And a very much like all about wanting to be your best friend. Like every time you turn around, Nossel is there.
Oh, he's a fan. Oh,
he is a fan, but like not creepy, just like very, very 13-year-old about it. You know what I mean? Like very like, how can I help you? Is there something I can do to help?
He's the adoring fan from Oblivion.
No. I've been thinking of a spell to use, but I coming up with a blank.
But like what spells do you got already or whatever?
I have some healing spells and some others to provide buffs in the heat of battle.
You know what? No, this is stupid. Sorry. I don't know. Like, what do you want to do?
Probably.
I'm just gonna say it. I think it would be rad if you had like a healing spell on deck so that like you didn't have to use your spots or whatever.
That'd be a good one. I didn't.
No, I mean I know it's stupid.
Think of that.
Like, he looks super embarrassed to have like dared like offered you advice. Like he's just very like, yeah, it's probably super stupid. I probably should have like whatever. It's like.
Oh no! It's a great idea.
Really?
It really is. I'll probably do that.
Okay. Well, I'm just like, if I can help, just let me know. You notice that Nossel is not a cleric, but kind of cleric aligned. He is a paladin.
Okay, Gnasel.
Yeah, Nozzle's a paladin. A very nervous paladin. It's kind of weird to see a nervy paladin. Does not have the strength of his convictions necessary to do like upper level magic. He's a baby paladin. But he does kind of have like it's a very natural looking armor, very natural looking kind of affect. So you may not know what he's a paladin of, but he's a paladin of something.
We need the components and everything for it.
Yeah, so you're gonna want to find the normal components that you'd use. I know you use your healing or your holy symbol. So you're gonna need to. Well, actually, I think that there's probably not a blueprint for. Are you doing healing word?
Yeah, let's do that one.
Okay. There's probably not a blueprint for healing word, but there are some other divine, like powered spells that you can see how are people handling like the holy symbol aspect. And usually there's some sort of like simulacra, like there is something that represents the holy symbol, which represents the deity. So like you can just think about like how do you want to fashion something that represents your god or their symbol.
Have you ever enchanted something with a holy symbol?
What, me? No. I mean, no. I'm really brand new myself. In fact, I mean, it took me a long time to do the whole ring of message thing. It wasn't. It's not really my. I'm not really smart enough for a lot of this. But hey, I mean, I guess I'm here to improve however I can, you know. And sometimes that means that like. You do things that you're bad at, and then you just keep doing things that you're bad at, and you don't ever get any better, but you keep doing them, and then eventually you leave, I think. Anyway,
I have faith that you'll get better in time.
You think so? I don't know. Like, it's just, I mean, I'm doing what I can or whatever, but like, it's not easy. There's no real like. I mean, I know that like paladin is kind of like a thing, and like there's no real like role models here or like people who do the whole paladin thing. So it's not super easy for me to be in a place of like scholarship or whatever. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go. Bye. And he just takes off. And you can see like he's kind of like rubbing at his eyes in a very like I'm definitely not crying fashion because he's talking himself into being sad. Awesome. I think before we get to Otis's next thing, we are going to stop here and take our break because I think the next part's going to be quite interesting.
Oh boy.
Awesome. All right. So we're going to take a nice break. We'll be back shortly for the second half of Rivenwood Academy. Again, if you like what you see here, we'd like to talk with the cast about what you're seeing in this episode. You could join us at our Discord, which the link should be coming in chat. You can join us. We have a spoiler as well as a non-spoiler section. We have a section dedicated for fan art, as well as when the new videos are released up on YouTube, which normally have higher video and audio quality. And with that said, we'll see you soon. For the second half.
We'll be back.
We'll be back. All right. And we are now back, for the second half of Rivenwood Academy. So with that said, Aaron, take it away.
Otis, how you doing, my man? How have you been coping with the last week that you had? So time is moving forward rapidly. I know that you were being more diligent of a student. I assume that has kind of continued. I also assume that you're dealing with a little bit depression. So talk to me about what's your average day kind of looking like for you right now as you deal with all of this?
Otis is honestly kind of floating through it, and he's also got a little bit of paranoia, looking over his shoulder because he doesn't want to hear that he's getting expelled, and he's also thinking that his parents might be lurking around every corner. So he's really on edge, exhausted, a little depressed, and hopefully he's encountered Azarath a little bit, which would help mitigate that just a tad. But if he hasn't, it's real bad.
You have not seen Azarath up close and personal in quite some time. Every once in a while from across.
Oh, so it's real bad.
Yeah. Every once in a while from across the school, you see what you assume is Azarath flying around. But Azarath hasn't gotten close to you since you started sparking in the Arboretum. That is kind of when Azarath started getting farther and farther away. So Azarath's still around somewhere, and you do occasionally catch glimpses, but not in your day-to-day life like before.
That's about right.
Yeah, so I'm going to take you to a nature class. It is several weeks later. Drogan has been... Drogan's been paying attention. He knows you're going through a rough thing right now. He knows that the tree dying was not great for you. And so part of what he's been helping you with is clearing that area and preparing it for new growth. So you can see quite a few trees in that area were damaged, but thanks to the help from, he had a couple different professors come out to help, some of them shaped stone, some of them helped levitate that meteorite. Eventually, one of them cast teleport on it and it is gone. So the immediate presence of this poisoning, toxic kind of leaching into the water is gone, but the Arboretum is still having to recover. And so a lot of what the class is doing as a whole right now is learning how do you handle when nature is unbalanced. So they're doing lots of replanting or moving to different areas, lots of tilling and fertilizing the soil so that it can be they're adding nitrogen-based whatever's in order to try and salvage some of it. But it looks like this is not going to be something that is accomplished before the end of the semester even. It's a ongoing large project that is kind of an all hands on deck effect. He doesn't always keep you there though. He sometimes takes you to different biomes, the class as a whole to different biomes. So I think that today finds you in a tundra environment. It's very cold. Not a lot of trees, or there's just very, very hardy scrub grass that is able to live in this permafrost. And he is pointing out this area, it looks pretty barren. It looks pretty ravaged by the forces of nature. But if you look around, you'll see that life still lives here. And as you look, you do see there are animals native to this biome that are living and thriving here. It doesn't look like what you as a forest dwelling, used to all of these trees and plants, it doesn't look like what normal life looks like to you, but it is kind of a lesson in there are many different ways that plants and animals and people survive and thrive that looks very dissimilar and looks very maybe barren or incomplete based on your background, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It does.
And then a little bit later, he takes you to a desert environment. This is a a wet desert environment, a warm desert environment, or a cold desert environment, in which there are, cacti and various plants, and you do see like mountain lions and javelinas, which are like this wild pig that are very hairy, snakes and stuff. So you get to see all of these very different animals who are suited for this climate. And he teaches you how to find water with the cactus, and he teaches you, kind of like, look at this. This is a century plant. It only blooms once every 100 years. And it grows very rapidly when it does. So like he spends time taking you through these different biomes. He takes you up into the mountains. He takes you into like, there's one area that is very like beachy. Like you live on a beach, but this is more like a tropical beach kind of area. And so like he spends a lot of time guiding all of you through these different biomes, showing you how is it different? How do we still see like how life is adapted and is growing in this area? And eventually, it's getting towards the end of the semester. He's handing out final projects. In nature class, it is very, very like personalized to the individual. And you are one of the last people he talks to, and he takes you back to where your tree had been, which is now just like some freshly tilled ground, no grass or tree currently planted. And he looks at you and he says, Otis, it can be difficult surviving some of the things that life throws at us. We don't get a lot of warning. And when it comes, we have to choose how we react. For your final project, I'd like for you, we haven't sent your group out on a mission since your mother arrived, just out of an abundance of caution. But I talked to Chancellor Zani, and she thinks that it's safe. She doesn't think that what was her name? Sue. She doesn't think Sue is hanging around here, and she feels confident in how kind of the diplomatic whatever is going on in the background. So we've decided we're going to send you on another mission over towards the Silverlake Wood. Same kind of pick up components kind of thing, just get your feet wet a little bit. But for your final project, I'd like for you to, while you're there, look for a new sapling that you could transplant into the arboretum. So I want you to find a plant that will be your own, that will become a permanent part of this school as you move it in. And he kind of puts a hand on
back in Drogan, and he just nods. Like a lot of the fight that Otis would normally have, a lot of the spunk, it's out of him. Like he's very much so a shell of his former self right now.
Yeah. He puts a hand on your shoulder, and he's just like, honestly, Otis, I've been here, not your exact position, but gosh darn close. I've been there, and it does, it sounds silly to say, but it does get better. You got people around you who care. If no one else, you know that Elliot and my home is always open to you. We're going to get you through this.
Otis nods again, but he still has that vacant stare.
All right. Is there anything I can do for you?
I think I gotta make something for this class. Gotta enchant something. I don't care what it is, but I gotta turn in something. Elliot, got any blueprints or whatever?
I can ask him. It's a good idea. I don't know if you realize, I think a lot of students who come through here don't realize, I don't got a lick of magic to me at all. What I do is with my hands. It's strange that I'm here, but I take a lot of pride in what I do. The things like the Arboretum's walls, or somebody else has enchanted them in order to let me do what I do. But I'll ask Elliot, see if there's anything he can do. Maybe by the time y'all have returned from your mission, he'll have something. suitable for your interests. I don't know if you know, but Elliot's quite fond of you. I'm sure he's going to find something, or he'll know someone who knows someone. Advantage of being the quartermaster around here.
Otis nods, still with the vacant stare. He probably just, if he feels he's dismissed, he would just walk off and walk toward the dorm.
He watches after you. Like, he doesn't move to follow you, but like there's a long moment where you feel his eyes kind of in the back of your head as he watches you leave. And then he heads towards the groundskeeper's hut. And you can see Elliot kind of looks up, excited to see as both of you exit, and then seeing your affect kind of sinks back down again. But doesn't stop you as you leave.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, breaking my heart. I mean, I know I'm the one who did this to you, but still, I feel it.
Or lad.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all. Okay, so we are now kind of culminating where all of you are reaching back together for this is an end of the semester mission to Silverlake Wood. You've got a list of components to pick out. It's the same components as you did your first mission. This is intended to be kind of a milk run for you. Drogon kind of is hoping it will repair some party dynamics with Otis being so depressed. I'm not sure that any of the rest of you are really realizing what's going on with Otis, just because he's gotten quiet and that's kind of hard to follow. Before we leave the school, I do have two things I want to do. The first is I would like everyone to make me an Arcana check for your enchantment. So what I need to know is, you don't have to tell me exactly what you're doing. I'm going to set the DC at 4 for Micah and for Kellen. Your DC is at 20. For everyone else, your DC is at 17. Based on what you've told me it's going to be.
27 for Archers.
Don't forget, Kellen, you automatically roll with advantage because of your excellent work with the last enchantment.
Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, got it.
Oh, okay.
Let's roll.
Archers is a prodigy of this matter.
All right.
Is this a thing that I could theoretically chronal shift on?
Yeah. If you need to chrono shift, you can chrono shift. You already were rolling with advantage, right?
Yes, but you sort of gave away the DC, and I did not need it without doing it.
Well, so. I am trying to be a generous DM as you craft magical items of untold power. I love how I'm like, hey, you should have an enchantment class. You're going to learn how to do a ring of message. And everyone's like, I wish to bend the will of the world to my own. With a dagger or whatever your chosen thing is. Absolutely. Yeah.
So quick.
Yes,
quick
Mike.
question: If do we just need to meet it, or if we get a high enough number, will we get to progress a bit higher? Because I beat it, but I'm like, if maybe I can use my advantage to get a higher number, and would that make it progress a bit faster, or would it still be the same just because I met it? Right now, I got 22.
A natural 20 will help you maybe progress faster, but other than that, beating the DC will not help you. So if you want to try and go for a natural 20, you can, but otherwise you're probably fine.
I don't know if I should.
I have erased the mistake that I was in the middle of making by rewinding time briefly. This time.
Okay, so Ardris, what'd you get?
27.
Kellen?
23.
Micah?
22.
Miri?
15.
Shy?
13.
Otis?
Natural 1.
Oh.
Sounds about right. Sounds about right. All right, so 3 of you have made really good progress on figuring out this arcane blueprint.
He had like a
Ardris,
note.
Helen, and Micah, like you have, and I think it makes sense. You're all a little bit more scholarly, a little bit more like words focused, and you're using those, your literary backgrounds to kind of put together the puzzle of how you could create a blueprint for something new. Miri, Shai, and Otis, on the other hand, you have not yet gotten there. This will not be your only attempt to roll this, so I will give you another attempt in the future. But for now, the 3 of you, you're staring at paper. You sort of think you might know. Otis, you're not even staring at the right book. Like, you're so out of it. Like, you're just staring at space.
No.
That's about right.
Oh.
But for Ardris, Kellen, and Micah, you will begin the process of gathering the materials that you now know that you need so that you can devote the time to enchant. All right, and then we're going to have one more scene before you leave the school in which you're all sitting at lunch and you watch as Pyria and Iana show up. Iana's kind of dragging Pyria by her wrist over there and is like, hey, can we sit with you guys? Cool.
Yeah,
and sits down.
100%.
Iana doesn't seem like in a great mood, but Pyria kind of like does a little hesitant wave towards Kellen and is just like, hey guys, how's it going?
Hi.
Ready for the mission or whatever?
Yes, of course. Sure. And Ardris is very much reading his book.
Cool.
Are you coming?
I mean, we've been going on missions like every weekend, so I think this time we're going to help with something down at the docks. I'm not really sure about the details yet.
Ooh. Remember what happened the last time? Scram went to the docks and didn't come back. Oh.
You saw Scram after the docks.
Yeah, we did. Okay.
Scram was at the festival.
Right, okay. About to say.
Was Scream at the festival?
Yeah, Scram was.
Yeah, because Scram was super excited
Scram talked to
about
Shaylin.
you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So both of them kind of sit there. Pyria's kind of like picking at her food a little bit, like looking around. Iana seems to be like stabbing at her food. She's kind of like,
Miri's like, so is there something bothering you?
why would anything be bothering me? Like, that's just so rude. Like, I don't ask you what's wrong with you.
I don't mean to be rude. You're stabbing your food.
You are making it quite difficult to read, so clearly there's something the matter.
If you don't want me here, then I won't be here. Fine. Pyria, are you coming? And Pyria's like, okay, fine. Stay with your boyfriend. I'll go somewhere else. And Iana takes off. Pyria's like,
I'll go after her. It's fine.
I really wouldn't. Okay, so here's the thing. Like, she had a big crush on Marcus, and she told him about it, and he was oblivious and didn't let her down very. I mean, he didn't let her down hard, but like, just he was caught. It's super awkward.
Birdman is not looking too high.
Super awkward.
I just will lean over to Shaylin and go, "What was Narcus again?"
I mean, I wish I was coming with you guys because this dock thing, like, imagine all of that being stuck in, like, I don't know, a rowboat or whatever they're going to have us do. It's not.
As long as nobody tries to sing a love song or something, it should be okay.
I'm going to have to, like, I don't even know. I mean, it doesn't help. The other 3 are just kind of like too good for us. So.
It's too good.
Do you want to come with us?
She kind of looks at Kellen. I mean, I don't know if you guys.
It's okay. I am good with you with us.
It's so
Me
sweet.
too.
It's so. You guys are the best. I don't know if they'll let me come though, because the whole like do the mission with your party thing. But like, I mean, it'd be sweet if I could. It'd be like I would want to.
If you want, we could even maybe ask professors about it. I would love for you to come, especially because she said boyfriend. Are you dating somebody here? She looks specifically at Kellen, Otis, and Argis.
I think that if we were to pitch it to the professors as perhaps groups intermingling, being able to share some of the strategies that other groups have developed, maybe there's a chance, right? That seems rational.
At the very same time, like as he's talking, Pyrie is also being like, yeah, we could share and stuff. It's like, it's completely for sure sharing and
she's like, So what do you see in Kellen?
I mean,
Let's start.
Micah kind of looks around like, I'm.
It's like they kiss and stuff.
what? No, we're not.
They hold hands and they
actually needed help with some homework, Pyria, and he like stands up.
Yeah, no, for sure.
We're gonna
Bye.
help, right?
Yes. Bye. Bye. Takes off.
I often forget how young you all are sometimes, but yes, you all are very talented, but still very young.
I just asked if they were like kissing and stuff. I don't know.
He's what that is.
Prince of Darkness and Pink Bubblegum Girl. It's kind of cute, you know?
You don't really call yourself the Prince of Darkness, correct?
He's gone, right? Did he separate?
Gone.
Yeah. They both just dipped after. Yeah.
Bye.
He isn't serious about the whole Prince of Darkness thing, right? I thought that was some sort of joke. But you all do
probably a phase or something.
Oh, sure. Right,
Why kiss?
People do. They like each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like romantically.
It is entirely unimportant at the moment. To be honest, it is more of a distraction from studies of the alchemy.
Ask the question. He is learning. This is a learning opportunity, and you of all people would jump at the learning opportunity. Would you not?
I don't see why this information would be particularly useful.
I mean, he has to learn sometime.
It's true, I suppose.
What's romantic?
Well, I have a book that I can lend you. It don't show it to your mom, but
I'm okay. I thank you. I don't what like trouble.
because they have like the kissing scenes, and I don't know if like your mom is cool with it or not. You know,
I have a philosophy text on romance and love if you would like. There are many different definitions of the concept.
I don't think that there is like any like theories on love. You can't just explain it like that.
There are quite a few different theories on what love is. There are many of them. I've read a few of them. They are particularly interesting.
So Miri's trying to pass off like Ye Fantasy Harlequin towards Micah, and Ardris is like, and this is agape, And this is like arrows, like has like a textbook basically on the different names of love. I love it. Kellen, you had a flashback you wanted to do.
Yes, in case it's relevant on the mission or something. He wanted to, within this past month, try to set a 5-minute meeting with the Chancellor. And he is going to ask the Chancellor whether or not it's possible that Micah has repressed memories, because he knows nothing of Micah's history. And that's the only person he can think to go to who might have any idea about the plausibility.
Oh, man. Talk about throwing a DM for a loop. All right. Yeah. You go to the office of the Chancellor one day, like kind of during normal school hours when you don't have a class.
And we can keep it brief. He would literally just like ask that, and then whatever she says, he would be like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Okay. I don't. Well, okay. If we're gonna keep it brief, go ahead and roll me an insight check.
How clueless is Kellen?
Clueless is Kellen.
8.
I don't know of any repressed memories that Micah might have, but you did the right thing in coming and telling me. I will look into this further.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, bye. That would literally be it.
I love it. It's so juicy. Excellent. I do want to try and get you to Silverlake Wood before we close it. Are you good with that, Zach? Because I know that you are on the tightest of timelines.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to kind of very quickly progress. You are in. This is towards the end of the semester. You've probably got just a couple more weeks left. You've all been working on your enchantment stuff, your various class projects, which we will resolve in flashback probably, because I want to get to Silverlake Wood. You're finally being allowed to exit the academy again. You've been kind of cooped up here for the last couple months due to the activity with Sue. So now that you are finally able to exit the academy, you're heading towards Silverlake Wood. You're getting the same spell components as you did last time, the Solomon's Seal and all of that. You make it there, no problem. You find the components, no problem, thanks to that large map and having gotten those specific ingredients before. I will say this time you're probably aware that like the bark for the willow bark is being harvested in sections so that it grows back. You kind of see where you just took a bunch of stuff last time. And you're like, ooh, not that great. Let's do it right this time. And so you take a little section so it can grow back. While you are in the Waypoint cabin, I know some interesting stuff happened here last time. I would like to ask Ardris. You've had some experiences with your book, some experiences with reading other books about this kind of thing. It's been gnawing at you that the book was here. Something about this is kind of getting to you. And as you look around the room, you see that faded discoloration on the stone. You also see the map, which you did not get a chance to look at really last time. Go ahead and roll me an investigation check.
15 plus 5, 23.
23, very nice.
This is on fire today.
Yes, you're doing phenomenal. So as you're looking at this map, you know this is quite an old map. You can see handwritten notes by a variety of people, including several people who are now your professors. Like this has been around for a while. And it probably needs to be replaced because there's a large section of the map in the northeast that is gone. And where it should be, you do see that symbol of like the 2 circles with the 3 lines that you've been popping up everywhere, including on the back of your book. The area of the map with the 23, the area of the map that is gone is kind of behind where the cabin is. You remember there's that broken water wheel? And behind that, there's kind of a small hill, kind of mountainy, woodsy area. And that is the area that is not on this map.
I'm curious. He will go and just do a quick check over that area using the fly spell to get an area view of that area and see if there's something odd there.
Okay. Are you telling anyone else before you go?
He will find Shylin because she can fly as well. And Charlene, if you wouldn't mind joining me for a moment, there's something I'd like to check on, and you can fly as well, I believe.
I
So, do you mind joining me?
Certainly. What can I do to help you?
Just lend me your eyes. I've seen a map recently, and I'd like to do a bit of an investigation. It shouldn't be too long.
I'm sorry, did you ask me to let you borrow my eyes?
Yes, I suppose. That's not what is how it is said in common. Another perspective.
Wasn't aware people could do that. All right, I guess.
I will come quickly now, and then he will walk out of the shack.
All right, it is about, I would say, like mid-afternoon right now, so the light is good. You both fly up. You fly over where this broken water wheel is to where this this forested hill is, and as you make a quick loop, you can choose to either both roll, or you can either both roll nature, or one person can roll an advantage.
Do you want to roll as well? We can do both. We can both roll.
You can roll with advantage.
Sure. Sources of tool. With advantage, it's a 14.
14. It's not easy to see as you're kind of looping around, but you do eventually get to a part. It's not too far walking distance from the cabin. You can see there's like the mouth of a cave. I think with a 14, that's all you get.
There's a cave over there. And you said it's getting dark, correct?
It's like mid-afternoon, so by the time that you guys are finishing this up, I'd say it's probably like the equivalent of 4 p.m.
There's a cave over there. I'm going to go and investigate it. Would you like to join me? I'm curious.
I mean, I didn't see any harm of going into a cave. Let's go.
Excellent. So you fly down to the mouth of this cave. Tell me what you're doing.
Looking around, do I see any obvious signs of like animals? Like it's like a bear's cave. You know what I mean? Is there like
carrying forward your 14? No.
Then he will just to be confident, I will take care of this. I prefer not to be attacked by some sort of forest animal. And he will cast a mage armor on himself and walk inside.
We'll cast fairy fire, just in case.
Fairy fire, you have to cast on something, correct?
Something? Do I?
I think it's the equivalent of an attack spell.
Can I?
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna hurt him.
You got your Shadow Flame armor. You'll be fine.
I'll be fine.
You walk in?
Yes.
Okie doke. So as you walk in, you see that this is a fairly narrow tunnel that eventually opens up to a large cavern inside. There is a flowing river that you can see is probably where Silverlake is getting its name from. Wherever it is flowing from, it seems to be flowing like in the direction kind of where the school is to the northeast. The water itself has like these little flecks of silver in it. And there is a small rickety bridge that goes over that. And beyond that is, well, it's a large room. You tell me what you're doing.
This is very strange. And he will cast Detect Magic with a spell slot.
Ooh. Argus, I need you to make me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh.
Don't feel good, do it.
Yeah, all of the luck has disappeared. That's a 7. All of the. Is this a charm effect by chance?
No, this is the equivalent of giving yourself psychic damage. You cast Which spell did you cast? Detect magic? Okay. You cast Detect magic, and it is painful to you how much information is suddenly flooding your senses. It is every school of magic is here. Every in vast, large, terrifyingly powerful quantities. I'll say that you haven't yet made it over the bridge. You're kind of on the other side of that bridge. With the 7, I'm going to say it takes you a minute. Like, you drop it because it is too much to process, and then you go to your knees as you take 5 points of psychic damage.
Are you okay over there?
Not at all. We should definitely come back another time. This place is much more magical than I anticipated, which means that there's most likely someone coming back here, and I would like to not be here when they return. Then he is going to very quickly try to gesture for Shylin to leave.
She follows right behind him.
Okay. Make me a stealth check, both of you. Please remember, Shy, you no longer have disadvantage.
I am a wizard, not a rogue.
It's not my fault you decide to just wander into caves without looking around.
That
18
is
plus 3,
a 20.
21. I am a rogue.
The two should be least stealthiest members of the party. Very easily kind of like, you like gingerly like tiptoe backwards until your back's to a wall and then kind of like slide across in order to get back to the mouth of this cave. As you exit, it is a little bit darker now, like closer to 5, so you're starting to get sunset based on kind of like the natural terrain. But you've successfully left. What do you want to do?
We should return to the other side. I would much prefer to have Mir's sword with us before we enter into there. Imagine if that is a place of power for someone, it would be quite dangerous. And then you'll fly back to the cabin.
Yeah, you head back with no problems. You easily make it there as dusk is beginning to fall. Do you tell everyone else about what you found?
Yes, he does. Yes.
Does anyone else have any input they want to give?
Do you want to go back to the cave?
Bye.
Probably. I'm curious about it. Especially with enough time to be properly prepared.
Well, I guess we could stop by. Though I don't need a good night's rest because it hurt you when you cast a spell.
Yes, indeed. It was quite a bit of information to take in all at once. But I imagine it won't be too much of a problem next time as I be prepared for it.
So
Well,
tonight or tomorrow?
Let us settle in tonight. Maybe one be safer. To recover all of our spell slots. I don't know about you all, but I have used up a bit of arcane energy today. And if there are people watching us, they may wish to pay us a visit. And if we stay here, we have at least have some bit of a field with the house advantage or something. I've never been good with that particular phrase in the humans use.
do you want possibly something to watch the house while we settle in?
Of course.
Okay. DM, Mary
Yes?
would like to call upon that nobody has seen before. Her familiar.
Excellent. Why don't you describe what happens? I assume you step outside of the cabin in order to summon. Why don't you describe what happens as like? Well, I'll let you describe it. I don't want to take this from you. Go ahead.
So, she'll reach into her pocket, and it looks like just a pile of like dried up like flowers almost, and she goes just holding her hand out into the darkness. And I feel like she left the door open so like everybody could see this happening.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually it's almost, I guess, glowing as it approaches the cabin, which is a small little cat with wings on its back. It is fully pink and it almost looks transparent. So it looks like a little jelly cat. And it's just coming up and it like sniffs her hand and then rubs against her leg and then sits right at the door watching everybody.
Does Jellycat got a name?
Yes, they do. So turns everybody, this is Pudding.
How adorable.
Maria's very excited to show off Pudding.
Where did your parts nerd beast come from? Or why does it look quite like that?
Well, I think a while back, me and my sword, Gravitus, we had a bit of a conversation about like cats because we used to have this cat in the circus whenever we were traveling, and it really liked to eat pudding, and it just kind of went from there. I don't truly know why it's here, but it started showing up maybe like a week or two ago.
This is fine. I will reflect on this. I will take a bit of green root as I have a massive headache at the moment, and then we can have a conversation about it in the morning, yes?
Sure. I will tell Pudding to watch the cabin while we sleep, and probably meow and scratch at the door if somebody comes around.
Michael raises his hand and say,
Oh, I don't sleep.
You could.
I watch.
Well, I don't want you to sit out on the porch by yourself with Pudding, but
I will join him after a few hours, I suppose. I don't sleep in the way that other people do, though I do need to, what is the word, take a chill pill?
where do you get your lingo?
Ahead of its time.
There was a noble woman of the to-go that came by the kingdom, and she used to say that a lot. I do not understand what it means.
I'm picturing the most refined woman, all slang.
oh, it's like 200%.
All right, so I think that Micah sets up like in the middle of the living room kind of area like we did last time. Various people are in like corners and stuff. There's those beds and pallets. I think that Pudding kind of flies up to kind of a gargoyle perch at like the top of the roof over the doorway so that they can get a good view of everything and then hop down if necessary. And then Argus will join after trancing for whatever watch is going to happen. Any other business before we get sleep? Excellent. You all go to sleep. Nothing happens during the night. So please take your long rest as you dutifully set up watch, but nothing seems to come anywhere near you. It is the morning. Do you go to the cave?
I suggest we exercise a bit of caution, perhaps research the topography of the area once we return.
Well, I've already researched it to an extent, and that cave is not on my map, and it is magical, which piques my interest. But perhaps if you all, I can go and check it out on my own, and you all can contact the academy in the meantime, let them know what's going on. Perhaps they would like to send someone here to look into it as well.
I'm not going to send you
I think
to.
you should go there by yourself.
No, yeah.
It's gonna go with him.
I'm gonna go look for a sapling.
I feel that allowing a bunch of younger students to risk themselves in a strange cave would reflect poorly on me. Though I guess we are technically in the same year, so it does kind of make things a little weird.
It's also strange to me that you aren't worried about how, just going into the strange cave by yourself would reflect on you. That also seems weird.
Nonsense. The nobility is our job to be the sword and the shield for the common folk. So, of course, we should be the ones to risk ourselves and the first signs of danger.
I would have kept him alive.
Well, if this cave is not on any map, perhaps somebody in the college knows, maybe Drogon?
I think we should tell them, because there's an unmapped magical cave here, and students have been disappearing. So
That is true.
That's why it's so there, but I can go and check it out. I am more than capable of handling such a relatively mundane task, especially now that I understand what to expect. And while I'm doing it, you all can send a message to the academy. This would be fine.
Micah shakes his
Sure.
head. He's like, no, that danger.
that way,
Together.
if you disappear, Ardris, we can tell them we know where everyone's disappearing off to.
I don't think that is a good solution, Kellen.
It is
Really?
fine. I am a magic knight in training, so I doubt there's anything in the forest that I could not handle.
Ardris, what was that last part?
Nothing in the forest that I could not handle?
Before that.
I'm not entirely sure what you're referring to.
In training.
I'm not entirely sure I see your point.
He means that you might just get yourself killed because you may not know how to handle it.
I can assure you that any magic knight can handle something as trivial as this task. It would be almost insulting to my family to imply that I cannot. He's just going to walk out the door.
Well,
Charlin's gonna go follow him.
I'm going to head to the Silverlake cabin before anyone else comes up with any brilliant ideas. Get us killed. Or worse,
Okay, Hermione.
expelled.
It sounds like the party is splitting up. Half are not going to the cave.
Otis been
half
gone.
are.
Miri would have tried and kind of pinpoint wherever Otis ran off to.
I
Okay.
went to go look for a sapling.
I will note, Kellen's first project, though, will be to determine some way to send word back to the academy about this strange unmapped cave.
Yeah, how are you gonna do that, bud?
Is there no present person I could hire to be a messenger or something like that in the
You could-
cavern?
Could walk your way out of the forest to try and find someone, but you're in the middle of the forest right now.
Oh, we were already at the cabin.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You spent the night last night at the cabin.
I thought we spent the night at the tavern for some reason.
Oh.
Got it.
Have we even been to a tavern yet?
No.
You're all underage. I can't
Yeah,
send you.
exactly.
kids.
We're kids. We can't go to the tavern. Exactly.
You're almost all underage.
Like, well, Micah go to get some milk. I mean, like,
Oh, no. Argist is one of those adults who sits outside the tavern for us.
but Micah would follow Shylin and Ardris just because he definitely doesn't want them to be by themselves if there's danger going on.
So it sounds like Ardris, Shy, and Micah are heading to the cave. Otis is in the forest. Miri is in the forest. Kellen is...
Returning to the academy to explain the situation with the cave.
Ooh. So
Could Miri try and convince Kellen to wait a moment to get Otis?
You can try.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to say, let's find Otis first and then go back together, he would say fine.
Yeah, that's basically because she's like, well, I don't want to let you go by yourself. And then we just talked about people going into places by themselves where they don't know where they're going.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He has not forgotten the wolves. He just really thinks that we need to go inform the academy. So that's fair. We can go try to find Otis and then head to the academy.
Okay. I will remind Miri. I don't know if you remember, but Drogon gave you the very first time you went out, like a wand of everything is terrible.
Yes, I do remember that now.
I'm not telling you should use it now, but I'm just saying like you do have a like last ditch recourse for if you do need to contact, or you don't actually know what the wand does. So you're not really sure, like, does it teleport you? Does it send a message? Like, it does something. What does it do? So there's that.
Okay. I do remember that now.
Yes.
Did we know that she had it?
Yes. He gave it to, like, the whole party, like, was there when he gave it out, and she was just the one that put it in her bag.
Okay. So if she doesn't bring it up, then he would bring it up in conversation while they're looking for Otis. Like, does the knight in training and his fellow squires going into a strange cave qualify, you think?
Qualify for what? She does not remember.
You know, oh, right. And he'll like tap his own head. Like, the weird wand thing that you got.
The wand thing?
Yeah, the like, you know, what was the phrasing? Like, everything's terrible.
Oh, you mean the cool little stick that Jogan gave me?
Yes, that would be the one.
I guess it would constitute as we should use it, but we don't really know if there's any danger in the cave. It could be like rats or something.
Right. You do remember the like part I overheard about how a student had disappeared, a sophomore, someone with far more training than what we have.
Was that not on campus?
And then on top of that, there's now been multiple of them. Well, they had to be going somewhere, Miri.
Do we even know, well, specifically Scram, do we even know if they came out here?
I don't think so. It's strange to me that I'm the only one who seems concerned about this odd magical cave. Didn't he say something about it, like, giving him a headache?
He did.
Inspect it? No more alarm bells for anyone else? Okay, well.
If you want to use the one here, she'll hand it to him.
Yeah, you could use the wand. I wouldn't recommend it, though. You turn around and you see an older human man who's kind of chilling, leaning against a tree.
Oh dear.
Are you going to kidnap us?
No. It's not really my style. He's older. He's got like white hair that's in a kind of a very kind of young looking kind of style. He's wearing like he doesn't have any armor on, but he's got like dark, like purplish black kind of robes. If you want to see more about him, I think you'd have to roll something for it.
You seem to know something about it. What do you know? And then he'll say the command word for his light ring.
Flashlight like right in its face.
I mean, I don't know if you know this, but light is generally more effective when it is not daytime. So just
I
saying.
assumed like we're in the forest, like tree cover and stuff. So I assumed it would help somewhat.
No, I mean, I applaud your use of light. Good job.
Oh, that's this is the person speaking.
Yes, this is the person, not Aaron. This is the
Okay.
person.
You seem to deflect about what you know. So,
Well, the tricky thing about knowledge is that you know what you know, but you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes you know what you don't know, but sometimes you don't know what you know. You understand? You know?
yes, I do. I have the keen sense.
Miri's
And-
like, huh?
He's like, yes, I do. The thing is, the odds of me using it have increased exponentially. So if you want to reduce them, perhaps
I know. I considered not saying anything at
tell
all.
me a bit about
Wait, are you?
you.
You've been watching us?
No, I mean, no. I definitely have not been watching you. I was not going to even be here, but then I kind of got to thinking about it, and I thought that it would be a prudent thing to come here at this time.
Helen, I think you should use that wand. She'll like lean over.
Killen is okay. You can both make me a perception check to see what you see about him. Kellen, go ahead and roll it with advantage, please.
Can do. 18.
The calculator, real quick, because I can't do simple math. 24.
Nice. You see, like, this person's clearly got magical training. It looks like some sort of a wizard. Bears the symbol of the academy, like has it in amulet form on his person. So somebody who has been through the academy before, at least. Miri, you see that he's got like a small scar on the back of his left hand that looks old and healed. Kellen, you notice that at his waist there is a dagger. It looks shiny.
Oh.
You're part of the academy, yes?
Strictly speaking, no, but I have previously graduated from the establishment, yes.
So you just hang around the forest and talk to students?
No, I never come here. But, well, I guess that's technically not true. I have been here previously, but right now it is the first time that I've come here in a long time.
You figured you would check here too?
He lights up into a big grin. It's like, you are smarter than I give you credit for sometimes. Anyway, it's just advice. You don't have to take it. No one gave me any advice. And he starts to leave.
Do you know anything about the cave? They'll like spit it out while he's singing.
It is an important start, I think. But that's just my opinion. And you watch as he goes invisible and is no longer able to be seen.
Do you want to kind of explain? Because I guess I'm not as sharp as you.
Well, we have 3 possible paths forward. 1, we say, forget it all and just use the wand anyway, although I don't necessarily think that we should. 2, we go find Otis and have him accompany us to the cave, or you and I go there now.
Well, I did come out here to find Otis, but what do you think that we should do? I do want to find him. I don't want to leave him out here, especially with that weird man wandering around.
Well, I agree, but what we don't know is what that man meant by a place to start.
Well,
What's starting there?
anything could start there, really.
Mhm.
I'm not entirely sure. I'm really bad at wiki decisions. You do it, Kellen. I can't.
He'll sit there and think for a second. I guess we should find Otis and then try to go to the cave.
Okay, I can do that.
So you, it's not difficult to find Otis because I don't think he was trying to sneak off. He's just a man on a mission. So you're able to follow. Like he goes up the river a little bit to like this copse of trees that look to be like young saplings. And Otis, make me a nature check.
I knew this was coming. Alrighty. That's a 12 total.
Okay. I will say that with a 12, you do notice that because of this like kind of silvered water that is going through, these saplings have like silvery like sheen to some of their bark, to the outside of the leaves. You find one that you think would be not too difficult to cart back with you.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. Can I see, like, do we find Otis when he's making his search?
Yeah.
Could I trouble you to allow me to give him the opportunity to take a second look? Maybe he missed something.
I think you see frustration on his face if you want to react to that.
I'll use Chronal Shift as a reaction. Try to
Roll
give
it
him
again, Otis.
You so
No.
kind. Okay. That's a 17. That's much better.
Nice. It's a bizarre feeling as like you feel this magic hit you, like probably from your back because you were intensely focused on something else, and then you kind of find yourself looking over it again rapidly, like you already know things. It's weird. You do feel like the properties of this tree probably have similar properties to other spell components you've looked at because of this silvering of the leaves and the bark. So the idea is that like it is a natural normal tree, except for the feeding of this water has given it magical properties. You're not sure exactly what those properties are with a 17. Like you need to do some more research.
Would you look at that? He's happy.
I am going to slightly rush things because I know some of you are very tired and ready to go to bed. You collect Otis, he collects his tree. All of you, I assume, are heading to the cave. I'm going to say you get there not terribly long after the other three. So they are ahead of you in the cave as you're reaching the mouth there at the bridge, basically. I assume also that Team Cave has been going cautiously.
Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead and roll me perception checks with advantage because you're moving with caution.
25.
18 for perception.
21.
Excellent all around. I'll say you kind of get to that bridge, that same area where you stopped and cast magic before, and you spend some time really, really looking around here. You let your eyes adjust to. There is some dim light in the form of like biofluorescent moss that is up around on the sides of this cave, but otherwise it is quite dark in here. And as you let your eyes adjust, you do see in the middle of this large cavern, kind of, well, not quite in the direct middle, kind of on the far side, there is what looks to be a made platform that's got several levels with steps going up and down it. And in the middle, there's a series of stalactites and stalagmites that kind of meet in this weird, like from your perspective, it almost looks like a weird kind of grin. And then you notice the carvings. There are lots and lots and lots of carvings all over the base of this area, running up and down and spiraling these stalagmites. Shy, I will say you also recognize there are some skeletons on the far end of the room. It looks like whatever happened here. They look. What did you get again? 20 what?
25.
25 is very good. They look very old. They do not look new at all. They look extremely old.
She's going to fly really close to Ardris's ear to whisper in it. There's some very old skeletons over there. Don't want to worry the wee lad.
Do me a favor and stay near him. I will look around.
Alright. And she'll, like, I don't know, kind of distract him.
So you post up in front of Micah. You're kind of like, are you talking to him, I guess?
I guess
To distract him?
we'd be like, hey, you want to see if we can figure out what these carvings are for or about?
Okay.
About this time, as you're crossing the bridge, everyone else is kind of getting to the mouth of where this thing kind of opens up. And Ardris, as you go forward to give a closer look at all of these things, you hear a noise. It sounds wet and sticky and gross. And as you start to hear it, you begin to smell it, the smell of like putrefaction and rot. And you look up, and detaching from the wall up on the cave side, you see long, bloated limbs that each end in clouded eye stalks, one central clouded eyeball with a rip of teeth below it. There are two beholder zombies that begin to fly in your direction from opposite sides of this cave. And as they move, the skeletons at the base of this all start to reassemble and move up. And that's where we're going to stop tonight's episode.
Sorry, Ardris.
Well, we're pretty close, right? I think we're pretty close by. So
roll new characters next week.
Well, so what happened was, I kind of knew this was going to happen, but it's okay. So again, thank you all so much for coming by. We definitely appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Not Dr. And thank you, Dude, for all the support. Thank you again, Hunters Entertainment, for the raid. Again, if you like what you see here, would like to talk about the campaign, you can of course join us in our Discord, which should be in the chat. And also, as mentioned, this Saturday, we're going to have Lords of Faerun, where Josephine Adams is going to be there as a guest. So, of course, if you hopefully would like to see you there. So once again, thank you all to Aaron and this fantastic cast for bringing in a fantastic episode. And we're going to go ahead and raid the Bronze Girl, I believe, because she is currently actually doing D&D at the moment. Oh, and Josephine is actually there. So perfect timing. So we're going to go ahead and raid Josephine. So once again, thank you all so much for coming by. We definitely appreciate it. And we see you all for next Tuesday, Rivenwood Academy, episode 16. Farewell for now.